Okay, hello dear class. Now in our today's class, we'll be continuing with the chapter 14, that is natural resources. In the last class, I sent you a video link where this chapter was very nicely explained. Yes, so I won't be repeating everything again and again, but there are some very important topics which we'll be discussing. But in order to save our time, we'll be directly starting from the index exercise, okay, which I'll be explaining to you. But before that, let me just give you a very short introduction to natural resource. Now, when I say natural resource, what do we understand? We understand the resources which are provided by the nature. Nature means where? From the earth. Okay, the resources which the planet earth is providing us, we refer it as natural resources. Now, why do we need this natural resource? Because in order to exist, in order to live on this planet, we need all these resources. Okay, now our planet earth, it's quite different from the rest of the planets of the solar system. Okay, we can't say about the whole universe because still researches are going on, but if you just compare our planet with the other planets of the solar system, our planet is different. Yes, because in our planet we have life. Yes, we human beings, plants, animals, biotic, abiotic, all the factors are there on our planet. Yes, and that's how our planet is different. But why? Because our planet has certain resources which are essential to be there in order to have a living existence. Okay, but the rest of the planets, they don't have such resources which can provide a living existence. Okay, of course the researches are going on in order to find life on Mars. Okay, but still not completed yet. Yes, we don't know whether there is life or not, but yes, and on Earth we have life. The reason is natural resources like atmosphere. When I say atmosphere, I mean air. Now we all know that we human being, okay, we need air, we need oxygen in order to live. We have to breathe oxygen. So from where that oxygen is coming? That oxygen is coming from the atmosphere of the earth. Yes, again the plants, they need carbon dioxide in order to live. So from where that is coming? Again it's coming from the atmosphere. Yes, so atmosphere, it's also a part of the natural resource. Okay, it's the first natural resource actually. Next you can talk about soil. Now, how soil is a natural resource? We eat food. Yes, the plants grow on them. So, if there is no soil, there is no plant, there is no food. No existence for us. You cannot only take carbon dioxide and live your whole life. Yes, we need food as well. So, again, soil is the second natural resource. Third, again, we have water. Now, water is itself called life. Because no life can exist if there is no water. You have food, you have you have oxygen. Still, you won't have life if you don't have water. Yes, so water is also considered to be the natural resource. In short, it's considered is the essential part of life, or we also call water as life. Okay, so these are the natural resources which we are going to discuss in this particular chapter. Okay, now as I have already given you the explanation part from that video link, so I'll just explain the answers that we are going to do over here. Okay, so let's start with index exercise number 1. So the first question of this exercise is, how is our atmosphere different from the atmosphere on Venus or Mars? Very simple. Now the atmosphere is different. Atmosphere is the first natural resource, okay, and because of the presence of the type of atmosphere that we have on Earth, the living existence is possible. But the atmosphere is for surely different from Mars and Venus because they don't have living existence. Now where does the difference lie? The difference lies in the composition of the atmosphere. Now we have already studied in chapter 1 also that atmosphere is made up of different gases. Yes, so Earth's atmosphere's composition is 79% of nitrogen. Okay, the percentages, make sure to remember that. Okay, so nitrogen is 79%, oxygen is 20%, and there is a small fraction of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other gases. So this is the composition of Earth's atmosphere. Now in this composition we have plenty of nitrogen which is required by the soil. Okay, we have oxygen which is required by us, we living beings. Okay, especially the animals. Okay, fauna. Okay, we call animals and human beings as fauna. Okay, now again, there is a small fraction of carbon dioxide, water vapor, and other gases. Carbon dioxide is again required by plants. Yes, so this composition shows that living existence is possible on Earth. Okay, because it has the particular composition of the gases that we actually require in order to live. But if you compare the composition of the Earth's atmosphere to the composition of Venus and Mars, you will see that In Venus and Mars, mostly all the gases are carbon dioxide because the percentage lies between 95 to 97% of carbon dioxide. So that's a very high percentage for carbon dioxide. Now if you go to Venus or if you go to Mars, for surely will die. Why? We don't take carbon dioxide, we release carbon dioxide which is used by the plants. You need oxygen, yes. So there is only carbon dioxide, no oxygen, so no possibility of life. Okay. So this was the first answer. Now let's move to the second answer. So students, here is the second question. The second question says, how does the atmosphere act as a blanket? Now we know the whole earth, okay, all the earth's surface is surrounded by the atmosphere. So it covers the whole earth as a blanket. Now how? Now this blanket only doesn't provide you warmness like the way the blanket that provides us warmness during winter, okay. It also protects us from many different kind of things. So let's see how. Now first thing, now why we consider it as a blanket? Because it tries to keep the temperature of the whole earth fairly constant. Like if you are staying right now in Dimapur, okay, and from Dimapur if you go to let me not take the big region in the cover. Let's suppose that right now you're at home. Yes, maybe your home is exactly in the Dimapur town, okay, near the city tower side, and from there you're coming to your school. So the temperature is same, isn't it? The temperature is same, you're feeling the same warmness, the same heat of the sun. Why? Because of the presence of the atmosphere as a blanket, okay. So the atmosphere act as a blanket. Why? So because it keeps the temperature of the whole earth's surface fairly constant, okay, not totally constant. Because if you consider the temperature of right now of Dimapur with Kohima, it's not same, yes, because it's fairly constant, not exactly same. There are different reasons why the temperature is not same, but somehow or the other it tries to keep the temperature of the earth's surface same, okay, fairly constant, as it covers the whole surface of the earth, okay. Now the next one, in the atmosphere we have a layer called ozone layer, okay, and that layer is very important because if that layer was not there in the atmosphere, no human beings will be living over here, okay. And even if we were living here, we will be having so many different kind of diseases, okay, mostly the skin diseases and cancer. Why? Because from the sun there are rays that comes which are very harmful, okay, which we call them as ultraviolet radiation. Now this ultraviolet radiations are very dangerous and harmful for us, okay, because it can directly give us many different kind of diseases. But because of the presence of the ozone layer in the atmosphere, these ultraviolet radiations are not able to penetrate the atmosphere and come inside the earth's surface, okay, and that's how we are protected. Of course, if you go out in the sun, you will get skin tan, but not directly you will get any skin diseases, okay. But nowadays, of course, our ozone layer is getting depleted, okay, it's breaking, so it's becoming more, okay, because of global warming it's happening. But still, the atmosphere, we have the ozone layer which protects us from the harmful radiations, okay, the ultraviolet radiations of sun. So this is how the atmosphere act as a blanket, okay. Now let's move to the third one. So here we are with the third question. What causes wind? We know what is wind, yes. Now actually looking at the weather or the atmosphere of Dimapur, winds are so pleasant to us, yes. But how does this wind comes to us? Like what causes this wind? Now as I told you, the atmosphere acts as a blanket to the earth, yes, and it keeps the temperature of the earth's surface fairly constant, but it's actually not constant all over the earth region, okay, because different regions of the earth have different temperatures. Again, if you compare the temperature of right now from Dimapur with the temperature of Himachal Pradesh or Uttarakhand or West Bengal, it will be different, okay, it's not gonna be same. So since the temperature is different, this difference in temperature actually causes wind, okay, from the difference of the temperature of the different parts of the earth, okay, that we call as uneven heating. As the temperatures are different, we call this term as uneven heating, and this uneven heating only causes the formation of winds. And moreover, the earth always keeps on rotating, we know that, yes, and because of this rotation, again with the presence of the mountain ranges on earth's surface, it helps or promotes more the formation of wind, Okay, so simply remember, winds are caused because of the uneven temperature or uneven heating of the different regions of earth. Okay, so let's move to the fourth one. So students, here is the fourth question. How are clouds formed? Now what are clouds? We know the thing that appears on the sky. Yes. Okay, now the clouds are some foggy substances, but they are actually water bodies. Okay, they actually have water, or you can say directly they are water only, but just that they are present in a cloudy or a foggy form. But how does the process of the formation of this cloud happens? Now we know on the earth's surface we have many water bodies. So in the daytime, when the sunlight is exposed to those water bodies, what happens? Those water bodies evaporate, yes, and the water present on the surface, it goes to the atmosphere as water vapor. Yes, so atmosphere gets water vapor from the water bodies. Again, there are other biological activities like transpiration, that means the release of water vapor from the plants. Again, respiration, respiration, which also releases water vapor to the atmosphere. So all this water vapor which are exposed to the atmosphere are heated up. Okay, they get the heat of the atmosphere and they go up. Okay, they go up higher to the atmosphere. Okay, and over there what happens? The temperature becomes less when this water vapor goes to another height of the atmosphere. Okay, because they are heated up, they evaporate, they get the temperature from the surrounding and they go higher and higher in the atmosphere. And when they reach a very higher level, the temperature becomes very less, and what happens? This water vapor expands. Okay, they will expand, all of the water vapor will get expanded and they will start cooling down. So when the cooling process happens, what happens? This water vapor, they start getting condensed. So they get condensed in the liquid form and we get water droplets. Now the dust and the suspended particles which are present in the atmosphere also helps in the formation of this water droplets. And these water droplets, when they come together, they are only referred as clouds. Okay, so they appear to us foggy, but actually they are water bodies with water droplets. And when the temperature changes, that means when the rain happens, those water droplets are only coming back to the earth's surface. Okay, so that's how a cloud is formed. So you can write down this answer. So students, here is the last question for this syntax exercise. So what is the question? List any 3 human activities that you think would lead to air pollution. Now we already know how air is important to us. Yes, it's one of the natural resources that we need in order to have our existence. Nowadays, because of the increase in population, because of the increase in development and civilization, what's happening? The air that we have, it's getting polluted. Okay, so in this question also they are asking, write the 3 human activities. Okay, the activities which are related to human, which is affecting the air or the atmosphere, that means which is leading to air pollution. So for me, I have written 3. If you have any other activities that comes to your mind, you can write it down. Okay, you can even mention in the comment section, or you can send me your answers also. So over here, the first thing that I have mentioned is burning of fossil fuels such as coal and petroleum. Now what are fossil fuels? Fossil fuels are the source of energy. If you are traveling by a vehicle, that vehicle is running on petrol or diesel, yes? So that is petroleum. So you are burning that petrol or diesel in order to make your vehicle move. But when that happens, burning of that petroleum or that diesel causes the formation of carbon dioxide. So already we have plenty of carbon dioxide. So if that carbon dioxide also goes to the atmosphere, it will create an imbalance over there. Yes, the balance among the different gases will be changed. So it will affect that, and somehow it will cause pollution. Not only carbon dioxide, many other gases are also released when we do burn or when we do use our vehicles. You have seen the smoke that comes out from the vehicles. That causes the air pollution, isn't it? So those things are very much harmful to the atmosphere and it causes air pollution. Second one, industrialization. Now in industrialization, we specially focus on chemical industries. Okay, those industries which make different kind of synthetic products, artificial products, which requires a different kind of chemicals. And in the making of those chemicals, they release different type of gases. Some of which gases are very toxic in nature. Okay, that means they are dangerous to human beings or you can say dangerous to the living kind. So that toxic gases, they are directly released to the atmosphere. they go up to the atmosphere and they come along with the other gases of the atmosphere, and thus they pollute the atmosphere. Yes, if there are toxic gases around us, that means it's present in the air, it will be very dangerous for us. Now for people, those who are living near the industrial areas, their health and our health will be very different, okay, because the air that they inhale, it's very much polluted as compared to the air that we inhale. Okay, so industrialization is another cause. Now the last one is deforestation. Now this is a very important and hot topic right now, because this is something that we can help out. We know the carbon dioxide that we exhale, we take in oxygen and we release carbon dioxide, yes, and that carbon dioxide is actually utilized by plants, because plants, they need carbon dioxide and again they will give us oxygen. But nowadays we are having too much of deforestation, that is the cutting down of the trees. So when we cut down a tree, that means we are letting the level of carbon dioxide increase, because the carbon dioxide that will be released by us, there are no plants to take that up. Yes, that means if there are no plants to take up that carbon dioxide, there are no plants to give us that oxygen again. So again there will be imbalance in the nature, so in the atmospheric gas composition. So again that will be causing air pollution. Okay, so this is how these three activities caused by human beings affect or cause air pollution. Okay, so this will do for today. In the next class, we'll again start with the next index exercise.